Today, Ukraine faced a series of attacks in various regions, with Russian bombings targeting mainly Kyiv, Poltava, Lviv, Volyn, Rivne and Kyiv. Russian attempts to strike Ukrainian energy infrastructure suggest preparation for winter, indicating that Moscow seeks to weaken Ukraine's defenses and cause disruptions to essential services. Authorities are warning the population not to share photos or videos of these attacks, as this could provide information to the enemy. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky confirmed that Russia has intensified its military actions with one of the largest attacks recorded during the conflict. According to Zelensky, more than 100 missiles and 100 drones were launched towards Ukraine in a large-scale operation. These attacks are part of Russia's ongoing strategy to weaken Ukrainian infrastructure while demonstrating strength amid the prolonged war. The drones used in the attack were identified as Iranian-made Shahed drones, which have become one of Russia's main weapons in aerial attacks in recent months. These drones are known for their ability to travel long distances and cause significant damage. Russia, on the other hand, justified the attack by claiming that its target was the Ukrainian military-industrial complex. According to the Kremlin, Russian forces used high-precision weapons to strike these targets, a recurring claim used to describe their attacks. However, the results of these attacks go beyond direct damage to military installations. Energy infrastructures and critical support systems in Ukraine have suffered substantial damage, severely impacting the country's ability to provide essential services to its population. This includes power grids, heating facilities, and other vital infrastructure that become even more critical as winter approaches. This increase in the intensity of attacks occurred amid growing tension between the two countries. On August 26th, the Kremlin announced that a Russian response to the Ukrainian incursion into the Kursk region would be inevitable. The Ukrainian incursion into Kursk is a strategically significant operation, as the region is a key point for Russian military logistics. The Kremlin's response demonstrates its intention to retaliate and reinforce its positions against the Ukrainian advance. Zelensky and other Ukrainian leaders have expressed concerns not only about the physical impact of the attacks, but also about the psychological effect on the population. The massive use of Russian drones and missiles creates an environment of constant fear, especially in cities that have been frequent targets of bombings, such as Kyiv and Kyiv. The situation is further intensified by the mobilization of Belarusian troops under Russian command at the Ukrainian border. Reports indicate that up to a third of the Belarusian army, along with Chechen troops loyal to Kadyrov, are moving towards the Ukrainian border under the pretext of military exercises. However, Ukrainian authorities are skeptical and on high alert. The Ukrainian Ministry of Foreign Affairs issued a formal note demanding the withdrawal of Belarusian troops and warned that any movement of these forces within Ukrainian territory would make them legitimate targets under international norms. In response to these challenges, the Ukrainian government is seeking to bolster its defensive arsenal, including Patriot missile systems, crucial for intercepting missiles launched against the country. During today's attacks, Russia used Kinzhal hypersonic missiles and cruise missiles, in addition to a large number of drones, amounting to billions of dollars in military equipment aimed at Ukraine. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky reiterated that Western allies must allow the use of long-range missiles within Russia, including Moscow and St. Petersburg, to balance the battlefield. Furthermore, Poland, closely monitoring developments, has put its air forces on alert, but so far its intervention has been limited to aerial surveillance. Pressure on NATO is growing, with many calling for more proactive action, such as shooting down Russian missiles over Ukrainian territory, something that has yet to occur despite repeated violations of airspace. Internally, Ukraine also faces challenges, with political figures collaborating with Russia. Member of Parliament Dmytro K., accused of connections with Russian oligarchs and advocating pro-Russian interests, fled the country after being warned about the imminent issuance of a summons. Reports suggest he bribed officials and crossed the border into Moldova, creating a corruption scandal within security agencies. Tension on the border between Ukraine and Belarus is escalating, with Ukrainian authorities ready to react to any violation of territory. It is estimated that, if the situation worsens, Ukrainian forces could advance to Minsk in 2 days, highlighting Belarus's military fragility. The Kremlin, in response to the Ukrainian offensive in the Kursk region, issued a stern warning, making it clear that there would be significant and proportional retaliation for Kyiv's actions. Russian government spokesman Dmitry Peskov stated that Russia would inevitably respond to recent Ukrainian attacks, indicating that Moscow is preparing new military actions to neutralize the Ukrainian threat in the region. The incursion into the Kursk area, which has been a critical point in the conflict, directly affects Russian logistics, as it is a strategic region used for transporting troops, weapons, and vital supplies for operations in eastern Ukraine. The Ukrainian offensive aims to destabilize Russian supply routes, which are essential for sustaining Moscow's operations in Donbass and other occupied areas. Kyiv's tactic of attacking targets such as bridges, ammunition depots, and logistical infrastructure in Kursk has raised growing concerns in the Kremlin, which now needs to reorganize its forces to protect the region without compromising its advances on the Ukrainian front. In addition to military issues, the Kremlin also commented on the state of ceasefire negotiations with Kyiv, suggesting that these discussions have lost relevance in the current context. Dmitry Peskov stated that due to the continued Western support for Ukraine and the escalation of Ukrainian operations within Russian territory, Moscow does not see viable conditions for the start of peace talks in the short term. He emphasized that, as long as Ukraine continues its offensive with the support of Western allies, Russia will not be willing to participate in any negotiations involving a ceasefire. This shift in the Kremlin's tone reflects Russian frustration over the Ukrainian offensive, which has achieved symbolic and strategic victories, such as the advance in the Kharkiv region. Russia, which previously expressed interest in negotiations, is now adopting a more inflexible stance, suggesting that any attempt at peace is directly conditioned on the cessation of Ukrainian operations and the end of foreign military support to Kyiv. The Russian position also appears to respond to internal pressures, with sectors of the military leadership demanding a stronger response to Ukrainian incursions. To minimize the chances of a ceasefire, the Kremlin reinforces its intention to continue its military operations more aggressively, prolonging the conflict and increasing the risk of further escalations on the battlefield. Enable the notification bell to not miss upcoming videos. Here are 2 important videos for you to watch. A hug, and see you in the next video.